Pledge of Allegiance and then a moment of silence, if we may.
And please remember Dan Beresford in your moment of silence. He was a former president of the Eagles for a long time and a help to the community. Passed away last week.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sir, would you like to take the mic?
In addition to Dan and his family, please remember the families of the law enforcement officers throughout who were killed in the line of duty over the weekend.
Thank you.
Our gracious God, as the weather changes, our activities still go on. Please protect those who serve in adverse weather and in hard and hazardous conditions. Please bless those who are a part of this community and enable this deliberation to make it a better, safer, and happier place to enjoy our lives as you have blessed us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Okay, Jennifer, if we could do the roll, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Here.
Ralph Miller,
Present.
Randall Niemeyer,
Present.
Greg Parker,
Here.
Richard Sharp,
Here.
Julie Rivera,
Here.
John Foreman.
Present.
I'm here. Jill Murr is absent. David Austin, Town
Present.
Attorney.
Very good. We have a nice crowd tonight. This is my first time being at the helm here. I have the gavel. I can't wait to use it. And and I have Julie to my right. So here we go. Oath of office is the first line item tonight. Amy Early, firefighter, paramedic.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Amy Early.
I, Amy Early,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Indiana,
the ordinances of the town of Cedar Lake,
the ordinances of the town of Cedar Lake,
and the rules and regulations of the Cedar Lake Fire Department,
and the rules and regulations of the Cedar Lake Fire Department,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and honestly discharge
and honestly discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as a firefighter paramedic of the Cedar Lake Fire Department,
as a firefighter paramedic of the Cedar Lake Fire Department,
to which I have been appointed according to law,
which I have been appointed to according to law,
and to the best of my skills and ability,
and to the best of my skills and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congrats.
Thank you.
And we welcome her as a town employee as well as part of our fire department.
Thank you very much. If you'd like to take a photo or something with a family member or what have you, you're more than welcome. Must be your daughter. Yeah, you can have the logo in the back. You can stand in front. We'll get us ugly guys out of there.
See, maybe not. No.
Ready? We got multiple. All facing different ways.
Okay?
Thank you.
Very nice.
Appreciate it.
You bet. You're very welcome.
Welcome aboard. Well, thank you. Congratulations. Welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Hi, Amy. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you for joining our team. We'd like to open the floor to public comment for anything that is on the agenda. If anybody has any items that they'd like to come up and address for agenda items. Going once, going twice. Public comment for agenda items is closed. Thank you.
We had
Oh, I'm sorry.
We have to leave the fire on the stabilized.
Yeah, I heard it's barn fire.
Yes, sir. We got to contain, we got to go.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
To-
Sworn in and out.
We
she
can
goes.
Yeah.
That's like eating and running.
Yeah.
If we can, there's actually.
Swear her in and put her in the trap.
Okay.
She
Water
forgot to
bond?
Put the water bond.
Just put it on anywhere.
Yeah, it should be under the claims, but
How much?
$66,441.25.
66,000.
$441.25.
Okay, I'll do it. Okay, we're moving through consent agenda, minutes of December 18th, 2018. The claims, all town funds, $1,012,993.03. Wastewater operating, $607,000, $442.67. Water utility, $56,541.05. Stormwater, $179,242.58. 2017 RDA, A and B construction, $287,456.73. Payroll for 12/28/18, 12/31/18, 1/10/19 equals $427,772.93. And water bond, which may not be on your agenda, it was $66,441.25. In addition, we have a 2019 clerk treasurer's bond, 2018 cancellation of old outstanding warrants, 2018 forwarding encumbrances of $27,436.71. 2018 EMS collections transfer 12% from general fund. That total was $32,241.59. Manual journal entries from December 1 through December 31st, 2018, as well as the 2018 utility adjustments of $78,451.37. And then we had some donations this past few weeks from Schillings for $400 and Franciscan Health for $4,400. And we also have a conflict of interest for the following people: John Foreman, Tim Kubiak, Doug Machok, Margot Nagy, Dawn Ratz Ovitsky, and Cliff Rowe. Do we have a motion to accept and waive the reading of the minutes and accept the consent agenda as listed?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ralph, second by Mr. Rick Sharp. And if we could, please do roll call.
Questions?
You bet.
I see we got two claims there for LGS and for Grimmer for High Grove and South Shore. That is not the final payments, right? We still owe them more money?
As far as I am aware, that those are not the final.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I believe there's a few percentage points left on each. It may be up to 5 if I'm not mistaken, Bob.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Mr. President. May I
Yes, sir.
suggest that perhaps you consider approving payments, but assuring that there be retained at least 5% for the final discussions that need to be had?
We most certainly can entertain that.
Given some information that we've received and closeout details that need to be finalized.
I think that makes,
I'll amend my motion.
you will amend it?
And I will second the amended motion.
Very good. So amended to withhold up to 5%. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Good.
Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on within the agenda, ordinances and resolutions. Number 1, ordinance number 1313, the EMS non-reverting equipment fund amendment. It's located on page 24 through 26 of our packet. Julie, if you would be so kind as to read it.
Ordinance number 1313. An ordinance amending Town Code Section 32.63 pertaining to the Special Emergency Medical Services Non-Reverting Equipment Fund for the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, repealing all ordinances and Town Code sections or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related hereto.
Okay, that was the reading.
Explanation?
Mr.
Ordinance.
President,
Do you have an explanation?
I do not have the details. Mr. Austin, do you have the details
I do.
of
I'm intimate,
the repealing?
intimate.
Very fine. Thank you, sir.
The current ordinance was adopted in 2011. That ordinance contemplated a whole different landscape here in the town of Cedar Lake. We had a volunteer fire department, we had an emergency medical service, it was separate departments. The billing function had just gotten modernized, and as part and parcel of assuring that there was a fund balance being built for equipment, the town council adopted that special revenue non-reverting fund, depositing 12% at the time of collected revenues from ambulance run or EMC or EMS runs into that special fund. Well, this ordinance cleans up everything. It removes volunteer fire company. It refers to separate department that the EMS was, and it updates the percentage amount being deposited from the collections from those ambulance runs from 12% to 15%. So it sets up that non-reverting fund and the amounts.
Super.
That's the whole story.
Perfect. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Anybody else have any questions on ordinance 1313?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 1313.
I'll second.
Motion by Randy, second by Julie Rivera. May we please have roll call if nobody has any other questions?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Newmeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules to allow for second reading.
Very good. Do we have a second to Randy's motion for a second reading?
Second.
Is that Ralph or Rick?
Rick.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table for second reading.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Newmeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, again. Okay, Ms. Rivera, if you could please read the ordinance 1313 again.
Ordinance number 1313, an ordinance amending Town Code Section 32.63 pertaining to the Special Emergency Medical Services Non-Reverting Equipment Fund for the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, repealing all ordinances and Town Code sections or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related hereto.
Very good, thank you. With the second reading taking place, do we have a motion?
Motion
approve
to
the second-
adopt.
Or adopt, thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion to adopt by Mr. Niemeyer and a second by Mr. Miller. May we have roll?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Newmeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes. Motion is adopted. Thank you. Item number 2, ordinance number 1316, which is a water system development charge amendment. Found on pages 27 through 29. Julie, would you be so
Sure.
kind as to read that?
Ordinance 1316, an ordinance of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, amending town water utility rate ordinance number 1314, being an ordinance of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, establishing the water rates and charges for the use of and services rendered by its Robbins Nest Waterworks system and all matters related thereto, to establish and adopt water utility system development charge rates for the Robbins Nest Waterworks system, Eastside District, operated by the Town of Cedar Lake Municipal Water Utility, repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith and all matters related thereto.
Explanation, please.
Mr. Austin, could you please give us another explanation on that?
You adopted last month at your regular monthly meeting, the ordinance that established an amended system development charge, actually established a system development charge for your East Side District, the Robin's Nest, commonly known as the Robin's Nest Water Utility that the town now owns and operates. You provided there for system development charges for meter size. After you did that and you authorized in that ordinance the filing of the petition to the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission for regulatory approval of that particular rate that you sought, our rate consultants in Indianapolis and the bond attorney has requested a consideration by you of amending, only to clarify, one, that the East Side District is kind of a defined term. That's how it's used in the petition to the commission. Number one. Number two, that the schedule of meter charges be a bit more specific so as to enhance the presentation and the prosecution of your town application in Indianapolis. You'll see that is on Exhibit A, that there are meter sizes ranging from 5/8 inch to all the way to 4 inch with a multiplier for anything in excess of 4 inches. So this is a kind of a cleanup. It didn't come to you for any reason other than that. Our petition is on file and the prosecution of that petition to the commission is in full process.
Very good. Answer your question,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Carnahan? Okay, very fine.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve the, would this be a one reading for, since it's an amendment, or we need a two?
No, it's a 2 reading.
Okay, for the first reading of the ordinance 1316, system development charge amendment.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I think Julie beat you.
Good, good.
Plus my right ear works better than my left.
She's closer.
Okay, we have first and a second for ordinance number 1316. May we please have a roll call?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer.
Yes,
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Mr. President,
Passes 7-0.
make a motion to suspend the rules to allow for second reading.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second for second reading.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer.
Yes,
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Ordinance number 1316, an ordinance of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, amending town water utility rate ordinance number 1314, being an ordinance of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, establishing the water rates and charges for the use of and services rendered by its Robin's Nest Waterworks system and all matters related thereto, to establish and adopt water utility system development charge rates for the Robin's Nest Waterworks System, East Side District, operated by the Town of Cedar Lake Municipal Water Utility, repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. That was a second reading for ordinance 1316. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Julie's got the first. Is that Rick with the second?
you gotta be faster.
May we please have roll call?
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer.
Yes,
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes. It is adopted, ordinance number 1316. Thank you. Resolution, I like this one, 1234, temporary loan of the 2011 A and B and RDA bond fund. May we please hear a reading?
Resolution 1234, a resolution authorizing a temporary loan for the redevelopment authority 2011 A and B bonds of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana.
Very fine. Do we want an explanation for that one, Mr. Carnahan? Okay. Would you mind giving an explanation to the public?
Unfortunately, this temporary loan is kind of, we have, it's a necessity,
From time to time. Okay.
each year with this one because the collected property taxes are not enough to, meet the lease payment that's due. So I'm asking for a temporary loan from the wastewater treatment plant special fund to the 2011 RDA A and B bond fund of $24,100 in order to meet the necessary payment.
Mr. President, comment?
Absolutely.
I know that the association we're a part of, AIM,
Mhm.
has been working on some legislation that they're trying to get in front of committee in the House right now that really deals with things like this, so we don't have to borrow from ourselves.
Mhm.
That when we set up these bonds, that you can come up with different terms for payment that meets your tax collections, as to where in the past, those things haven't been an option.
Right.
So the state is working on some, at least hearing some ideas on legislation. So hopefully that's something that that will get passed here in the next session and be favorable to cities and towns, so we can manage our funds a little bit better and not be handcuffed and restricted by the terms of these bonds.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. And some towns can't borrow from themselves. They probably have to get a loan from the bank and pay interest. So now
Correct.
they're wasting taxpayer money.
That's exactly why they're.
And that's all because the state
it out
doesn't
there.
give the counties and the county doesn't give the towns the money on time,
Correct.
which comes from what?
And,
Auditor's office.
and the banks don't allow us the opportunity to adjust some of those terms when it comes to
Right.
the bond repayment. And so the state legislation is meant to give us a little more teeth in negotiating.
Good. Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ralph,
Second.
second by Rick Sharp. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes. Resolution 1234 passes 7-0. Moving into new business, we have an engagement agreement, EMS billing, Medicaid reimbursement, located page 3031. Julie, if you'd read that, please. Page 30. Have it?
This accounting union company. This one.
John, you can simply reference it if you choose.
Oh, I can't. Oh, yeah, that is. So this EMS billing is a Medicaid reimbursement by Rooney and Company out of Indianapolis. It's the Medicaid freestanding governmental ambulance provider cost report for the year ending December 31, 2018. And our cost for the report prep were $4,000. And we have the ability to choose 20% of contingency due upon receipt of the 2018 ambulance supplement payment. So that's what that item is about.
If I might add,
Sure.
we've done this previously in the past few years, and we've collected some Medicaid reimbursement, and Rooney and Company then just takes 25% of whatever is collected. It doesn't cost us anything up front, but a little bit of time to give a little bit of data to them.
Very good.
And if I remember correctly, we were having difficulty getting some of those reimbursements before we engaged this group.
Very good.
Excuse me, Mr. President,
Sure.
is there a report that can be made either by a town administrator's office or the clerk's office of what the benefit was, as Randy has indicated, so the council could be informed on that?
I can
I'm-
pull for you for the next meeting. Unfortunately, I ran out of time for this one with
Okay.
year end, but I can have those numbers to you for the next meeting.
If you would.
Yep.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't believe we've had a motion for the engagement agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sharp,
Second.
second by Mr. Niemeyer. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Thank you. New business item number 2, Parish Avenue, change order number 2. Looks like it was a roadway reconstruction project phase 2, Walsh and Kelly, soil stabilization on the roadway subbase from stations 5760 and 74 and 60. Follow the soil analysis performed by ATC and work performed by Rock Solid. The reason for the change was During the excavation, there was some unsuitable soil. And following the boring analysis, the most effective cost was determined to be cement stabilization. So it was 4,613 square yards of subgrade base were stabilized. And that was a total cost of $45,533.10 by Walsh and Kelly. And Mr. Oliphant, you weren't a part of that, were you? Okay.
Now, this was something, John, that was predicted when we dug into Parish Avenue, because that first phase had the same issues. The road subgrade was just complete mush and soils were really bad. So
Right.
this was something that Jill and the engineers had been talking about all throughout this process. So really, there's no surprise to this change order.
That's correct.
Which it also delayed the completion of the project too.
That's correct. Very good. Do we have a motion for Parish Avenue change order number 2?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan
I'll second.
and a second by Julie. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Greg Parker,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes,
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes, motion carries, passes 7-0. Moving into reports, do we have anybody on the town council with anything to report on?
January 25th in the Schererville Town Hall at 9 a.m. Tim Brown from Lake County Economic Development will be there, and he will be explaining what we need to be doing where I guess a lot of communities haven't been doing the reports properly on Community Block Grant. So he's going to kind of educate us. 9 o'clock, January 25th. That's our 16-plus meeting. It's held in the Schererville Town Hall at 9 a.m.
Mr. President, one report.
Yes.
I received a request via text message, which I forwarded on to the town administrator, from Ryan Bogenschneider, requesting use of the town grounds for September 14th. It's the second annual Arlen Bradley Car Show. So I've forwarded that to Jill. She can formalize that request for the town council's consideration. But I wanted to bring that up today, that they are looking to put that together again.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
If nobody else has anything, I have a letter that we submitted. Mr. Gerstenkorn informed us that his son William completed his Eagle Scout project. And the letter reads as follows: the Cedar Lake Town Council would like to commend you on the outstanding work you have accomplished, and congratulations on earning rank of Eagle Scout through troop number 561 in St. John, Indiana on December 17th, 2018. Your hard work, dedication is truly appreciated by the town of Cedar Lake and the residents of Cedar Lake. Thank you again. Signed on all of our behalf. So that's a pretty good accomplishment. Is he here tonight by chance? Or no? Okay.
We've had a
Fabulous-
number of Eagle Scouts come through
fabulous
here
accomplishments.
over the years, and they do just some outstanding work in the community. It's great to see the scouting program continuing to thrive here in this area.
I had a job once, and the owner would look through resumes, and if there were any Eagle Scouts, he'd put them aside instantly.
Yeah.
And he would absolutely always interview the Eagle Scouts. So it's a pretty cool accomplishment. Okay, town attorney,
No reports.
no report. Clerk treasurer.
I'd just like to report that we received our 1782 notice for 2019. All funds except for one were approved as submitted. The only one that wasn't was a lease rental payment for the 2017 bonds. But they reduced it because of the way DLGF reads statute. It's the same problem that we were discussing earlier. We can't get the levy approved for, what our debt service obligations are. And we find
Excellent.
ourselves in this horrible cycle where we have to
Yeah.
borrow.
The craziness of statute that
Yeah.
handcuffs us.
Yeah.
Times 92 counties, times 50 states,
It's
mind you.
crazy.
Yeah.
the amount of interest that's paid statewide
Yeah.
for these types of statutory problems.
Yep.
So as we had just a little bit ago with the 2011 RDA A and B bonds, when it comes to payment later this year for the new lease rental payment, we'll most likely see the same issue. We'll have to borrow some. But other than that, all of our other
Excellent.
funds were approved as submitted.
Very good. Nice job to you and your team. Written communication, building department report. Do you have anything you want to report on, Mr. Kubiak?
I just have one thing real quick.
Okay.
I just want to let all you guys know that, I don't know if you guys noticed along 133rd, we upgraded all of the street light, decorative street lights to LED lights now. It was about a cost of $11,000 to upgrade all the lights, and in 1 year we'll save over $12,000 of electricity. So
Wow.
it's a pretty good upgrade. You'll notice that the lighting is tremendously better from the decorative street lights now. Instead of that yellow dingy light, it's actually lights up the roadway. So something for your guys' consideration. I know you're not gonna like this, Bob, but there's probably about 12 to 15 high street lights along 133rd that I would like to get rid of and relocate to areas that we need some lighting that we have. You know, there's a lot of places on the west side of 41. There's a couple people been in here for Lee Cove and some other places that we could relocate those lights to and
Make safer.
basically light up the town better for, you know, not any more expense during the year. So,
But those lights have to be done by NIPSCO, right?
right, basically, I don't know, I'm gonna look into what the cost would be to relocate them.
Okay.
Obviously, we're already paying the fee to have them on every month, so I just wanted to get your guys' blessing and move towards that way, or if you wanna leave those, but if you wanna take the time to look at them now that the roadway's lit up nicely, those ones up high are basically
Waste.
doing nothing. They're just, I mean, we've kind of discussed, and there's a couple like right at the intersection of Parish and right at the intersection of 41, obviously, we'd want to leave those just for some extra light for safety, but basically all the ones, if you look where they're
Yeah.
at along there, they're doing nothing, so.
I talked to Jill about putting one at 133rd in Fairbanks. The TJT used to have a dawn to dusk light, and now they've turned it off. And when Citgo shuts its lights down, that isn't well lit like it used to be. And then
That's
at,
exactly what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. We
Right.
could utilize
And then-
probably 20 lights and.
and then at 129th Avenue going into Lemon Lake Estates on Fairbanks, MacArthur School shuts all their lights off after the crew leaves, and then they're off over the weekend, and it's hard to see getting into Lemon Lake Estates. So I gave her those two locations.
Right, this is what I'm talking about. I think we
Good.
could pinpoint a bunch of, we could use them. We could use the 25 lights somewhere there's no light, so.
I would think your tow truck driver or your plow drivers probably would know best.
Yeah, we can, I mean, obviously, we get everybody's input, but there's a good 20 of them that could be relocated. So,
Good.
Great,
something to think about.
great suggestion. I think,
Yeah.
can we do straw poll? Everybody, all in favor? Say aye.
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 All opposed? Rock and roll.
One other thing there, the old decorative lights, you were constantly repairing them because they would blow the bulbs all the time.
Right, and the new lights actually have a
Love it.
5-year, 100% warranty, and if they go out 2 years and 11 months, it's 100% covered.
All in favor?
Yeah.
All in favor?
And that 5 years, even if they all go bad, we're gonna be $60,000 ahead just in electric savings. So it's pretty good. Pretty good move forward.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Tim.
Anybody else?
Is somebody going to talk about Christopher Burke's report?
I have Mr. Don here. He would be happy to mention a few things, I'm sure.
Do you have that in front of you?
I do.
Okay, like the eco restoration, I see we got a little bit of movement there.
Not a lot.
Yeah, but it's better than no change.
It's no change. It's still going through Washington DC. We're pretty much sitting on our hands until we go back around the national approval to go instead. Not a lot we can do at this point. Just have our normal conference calls with our team in Chicago. Go there and see if there's any movement from a weekly basis.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, if you look around and listen to the news, if some of the funds are spent from the Corps the southern border, that's probably a good chance it's gonna be even delayed further, but
Well,
That's
and the
speculation at this
shutdown's
point.
not helping either, I
Right.
imagine.
No.
So,
The biggest thing is if the Army Corps can just get this off of their desk,
Right.
even if the money's spent somewhere else, at least we have a project then that we can go and solicit funds from many different sources to do something.
and per our last meeting,
Right now, we're just
and
handcuffed.
per our last meeting with the colonel, we asked him for permission to move forward with doing what we need to do to the bottom
Yeah,
of the lake.
we've just got to get them to check off on it so we can
That's right.
go and do our work.
Yes.
yeah, that's the biggest thing, we're kind of, you can't start that process.
No, we
That's
can
right.
do nothing.
It is a long process, so it's over. So, some of the other big ticket items, I can touch on High Grove and South Shore really quick, kind of in relation to what the last two applications were. High Grove is pretty much all wrapped up. We were withholding about $40,000 for that entire contract, and we recommended all retaining be basically released, except that.
Okay.
They're done minus, basically we need to check vegetation in the spring. We had a pretty good late summer and fall for growing, so that one minus a lot of their laydown yards, both in the interior portion of it and along the pavilion, still need to establish. So that's why that's withheld. LGS, we recommend retaining if we drop down to 5% because we're still waiting on red line drawings and a couple other small discussions regarding some final quantities with them and also vegetation in spring. And then also they have maybe 3 or 4 small punches they finish off. So that one's still.
You gotta say
holding
that
at
since you
1%.
gotta grab the phone.
Like I said, 5%. The other larger ticket items, Town Club Ditch, which is the Lair Grant project over on Lakeshore Drive. That's substantially complete, probably as of Friday. They had all the hardscaping of the creek complete. They had 1 or 2 culvert extensions and replacement of culvert under the fall road. And then also you will have a application on your next agenda in February for that first change order. That will be a majority of the project complete. We, again, will withhold money for seeding and stabilization to be completed in the spring.
That's going to have, it currently has a 12-inch culvert that goes on the roadside there, and you're putting in, I heard, a 24.
So there is a small crossing just east of Lakeshore Drive, not the primary one that goes under Lakeshore. It's essentially just a small crossing to get access to the sanitary line that runs up that ditch line. I believe the old culvert was a 15 to 18 inch PVC pipe. I think we're replacing it with what, 2018 to 24? 2024. Okay. So that will be replaced, and like I said, Metro will pretty much be done everything they can do in the winter, and I'll come back and stabilize some areas that are still disturbed once that growing season prevents.
Yeah, I walked it the other day, and I walked out of there, and I had like mud shoes.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot they can do. They're going to dormancy. Some of the areas, but until we actually, obviously get the weather where we can actually get some vegetation. That kind of stuff right now. So that's the reason for holding some money back and build your back strength.
I pictured you as more of a boot guy, Bob. Work boots.
I had some shoes that weren't very good. I had to go out and buy a new pair afterwards because I trashed those.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate that project. I mean, typically this time of year it's frozen. And up until about a week ago, it hasn't really been frozen. So it's been a messy job site, and we've got more rain than we have snow, which is ironic when we actually wanted.
Bob, the mud adds character to a good pair of shoes.
Okay.
Other items, and some of the bigger ticket items that we've been working on over the last couple weeks are regards to the 2020-2024 Transportation Improvement Program. That is funds, our federal funds that are controlled by the state and doled out by the local MPOs, in this case, Mercy. Those applications for funding were due on Friday. In conjunction with your staff and our staff, we put 3 applications in.
Awesome.
One of them was the Lakeshore Drive sidewalk connectivity, to essentially construct sidewalk along Lakeshore Drive from the end of the Safe Routes sidewalk projects, a little east of the fire department, all the way to town ground.
Awesome.
So
That will be huge. You
Yes.
pull that grant.
a little over 2 miles of sidewalk. the estimated project cost, keep in mind that the call for what they call a NOFA, notice of funding availability came out Friday after Thanksgiving.
Didn't have
They were due on Friday, so with the holidays and trying to pull it together was kind of a large effort between our staff and your staff. So took a lot of work, but we got them in for consideration.
Good.
Um,
Is that on both sides? Is that plural or singular? Sidewalks or sidewalk?
It likely would only be on one, so a lot of this
Okay.
estimating is conceptual in nature.
Okay.
We're not going off any kind of survey or
Right.
anything like that. We didn't have time, there's no way to do that.
All right.
It will be on one side. Lakeshore Drive is notoriously narrow, certain aspects of that corridor.
Right.
So we just didn't see it was feasible, with some structure proximity to existing pavement to do that.
Got it.
So the goal is to keep it on one side as much as possible. But Like I said, you kind of run into that narrowness on both. I think that we have two crossings, one crossing in the part of the Walter.
Got
So
it.
you have it conceptually designed and estimated now. So, I mean, that total project was 2.534 million. And that would be at an 80-20 match level. So the local share, if accepted into the tip, would be about 550,000.
Great.
And that only includes construction and observation. So PE and right-of-way services, the extra. The current tip caps the request for both of those to 7.5% of your construction estimate now. So the most we could ask for that was about 150. We requested 100 for that. If you request less, it becomes an overmatch and you get a better scored application. So there was some play on what we wanted to request and see how our application scored against others.
Great.
So that was one. The other was the Founders Creek Multi-Use Trail. This has been in a plan, I believe, since 2014, when the town received a Donnelly grant to do a plan for the Founders Creek corridor, which is roughly from Lemon Lake all the way to town grounds. And also includes Cedar Creek as it goes south and outside of the town limits. This particular application only includes 133rd to town grounds and includes a half-mile walking path kind of through town grounds, essentially from the northeast corner, zigzagging throughout the lake shore and back around.
That'd be
It's
cool.
basically a 10-foot wide
That'd be awesome.
asphalt path through a 25-foot corridor for that entire thing, and it also includes connecting the last stretch of sidewalk from Faith Church to Lakeside Subdivision. Otherwise, we would just dead end right into 133rd. And there'd be no
Is that going to be a boardwalk or something?
It likely will
Conceptually?
not. It'll be fill. Part of this project, we would also replace the culvert on 133rd,
Oh.
raise that road. The raising of the road likely would be a local only project because that would not fit into that application eligibility.
Mhm.
So if it gets programmed within that 5-year period, obviously there's a lot of time to do like work behind the scenes and whatnot. The good thing about that, the town owned a good parcel of that entire corridor. I think there's only 4 or 5 parcels that the town does not own. The biggest one would be Lawton's potential future subdivision. And we've been talking with him, or the partner of the project, and basically allow that to go pretty much as part of his open space and park requirements that he would need anyway.
Founder's Creek, we had received approval to take that into the lake, and it currently goes into the ditch.
Yep.
Is there any movement on that?
That is part of the feasibility study for the ecosystem restoration. If you remember years ago with the name of the development escaping me, south of Lighthouse. Paradise Cove, there you go. And then it changed those moorings and it kind of went away. That was part of their ultimate plan, was to reroute it, create a small docking area and turn it in. That's a big part of the feasibility program, because it basically feeds a freshwater stream to help clean up the lake. So that obviously would not be a part of this, but it's still on the ecosystem's radar.
And just a little bit of history, that ditch was called Hog Pen Ditch, and it was changed to Founders.
It was, and yeah, we still call it as Founders. There's some discrepancy if it actually is still called Founders or Hog's Bend. That was a declaration, I believe. With
It is
County Drainage
Founders.
Board.
It is Founders to Morse Street. From Morse Street, north and east, it is Hog Pen Ditch still.
What still is?
Yes, sir.
Who would have to change that?
You could petition. I mean, it's a petition to the Lake County Drainage Board. That was the process by which it was changed to Founders.
It'd be a good thing for us to consider.
Yeah,
as a
once the
better-
eco restoration is complete, because you change the wording there, that could derail something. Who knows?
Confuse
At
the
this
federal
point in time.
government.
Yeah.
We don't need to confuse the federal government, is right.
They did another 10 years.
Oh,
The last application, a lot of you are already familiar with this project from a planning standpoint, would be the 133rd Avenue and King Street intersection. There's been some past discussions about putting a signalized light there. We went before NERC and asked them if this could be considered basically a intersection safety improvement project, and they actually liked it a lot.
Good.
Considering the potential partners that may be involved with it, both private and public wise.
This is at the high school, right?
This is at the high school.
Just so everybody knows.
So, additionally, because it's considered, or at least being submitted as a safety improvement project, it's also eligible for HSIP fund, which is a Highway Safety Improvement Program funds, which are 90-10 match minimum,
Cool.
and potentially 100-0,
Wow.
depending on how they evaluate it. So.
Well, that's all we need to do is do a video of kids dashing in front of cars to go to Dairy Queen, and I think we'll
I
win.
mean, it's the way that NERC has been breaking out these application processes. They've been splitting all of the applications into considered tier 1, 2, and 3 applications. Almost all roadway projects are tier 2s. A lot of inventory type projects, planning type projects are tier 3. A lot of tier 1 projects, which should be the most high scored and the best ability to be into the tip, are projects like these, and all 3 of them are currently tier 1, unless they come back to something else.
Cool.
So
Very good.
obviously, there's no guarantee. The way New York City has kind of managed the past tip, for the first year of this tip is already pre-programmed.
Okay.
So they've been kicking stuff back. They're trying to alleviate that with some managing this one. So it's competitive, but the fact that we at least have tier 1 scores, it'll help.
Mr. President, a little comment on the King Street and 133rd Avenue. That's something that's been started, I think, in 2014 at the Redevelopment Commission, and it was a little bit different of a project before the addition of the subdivision across from there. So there's been some ongoing discussion with that, and I think it's a viable project. The schools obviously expressed some concern with the $626,000 price tag split 3 ways. But with what you're working on there, it looks like there's a good possibility that this thing could be done comprehensively with hopefully a federal project.
Your share goes down to 78,000.
Yeah, and we split that 3 ways. That's a little easier for everybody to swallow.
Yeah.
Everybody really needs to step a little bit.
Yep. Thanks for that, Don.
Very good. Thank you, Don.
And there's some other stuff on there. Next Level Trail is another grant program that applications are due in mid-February. We'll go in with the founders for that as well. And that one has a $5 million local, basically available pot of money. And that will be for the next several years though. That one's a little more cumbersome of an application. We need appraisals for properties that we do not own, where Mercy wasn't on that level. But that one will be available a couple of times in the next couple of years, couple more calls before it. So,
Great.
So that's kind of the next grant application that we're going to tackle. So, Community Crossing is also coming up. Their first call is due on February 1st. Unfortunately, I don't think the town is eligible for it.
Is that because the other project's not complete?
Yes, that was a 2017 project. If your 2016 and 2017 awards are not closed out by December 31st of 18, you're not eligible for at least the first call. Closed out, now they're doing 2 calls a year. If it's closed out until the next one, you would be eligible pending asset management plan updates.
And is that $1 million for each 6-month period, or is
I
it?
believe so. But I think it's cumulative. So if you get $1 million in the first call, I don't think you're eligible for the second call.
We expect those other projects to be complete though, fairly quickly in the spring. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
I think so.
Okay, good.
And that's Parrish Avenue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are the major kind of points over the last month through the holidays.
Super.
Any questions?
Nope. Thank you, Don.
Thanks for keeping on top of that.
Okay, last, we have written communication, clerk engineering. Thank you notice from Charlotte Edwards for handicap accessible ramp. Julie, you want to handle that one?
Yeah. So Charlotte sent us a nice thank you. It says to the town of Cedar Lake and any and all who helped with building a handicap ramp for me. Words cannot express how grateful I am. The ramp is wonderful and very much appreciated. Thank you very much, Charlotte Edmonds. May God bless all of you. And she sent a picture of the ramp with her on it. Tim, did you know anything about this? Did your guys help out with this ramp?
I can address some of it.
Oh, okay.
That ramp came from the food pantry.
Oh, okay.
And Roger Hayward took and moved that,
Mm-hmm.
correct, Pastor Ken?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay.
And installed.
So,
And installed it. So Roger Hayward, who works in the community and
mhm.
Big church had a problem.
Very nice. Well, she appreciates it.
Yeah, shout out to Roger Hayward for sure. Okay, and I have already read the congratulatory letter during the town council portions, so now we'll, and last but not least, building permit for January through December. Looks like we had $349,422 in residential value. And then alterations, and those were for new. And then alterations, we had 20 with a value of $237,913. Okay, for the total year was $32,782,169 for all of 2018. And we had 454 alterations for $5,479,228. So that's quite a accomplishment. We're a growing community. And I think the nice thing here is the alterations. A lot of people are doing a lot of rentals within and around the community, and it's making the town better. So I think that's a positive. Thank you, Tim. I'd like to open up the floor to public comment. If anybody has anything that they'd like to address the microphone for, please do. Just state your name and address for the public record.
Good evening, council members, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gail Morowski. I live at 423 Quail Court in Chesterton, Indiana. And we're here, I'm here with John Williamson. We're here as representation for Nick's Tavern. We have entered into a lease agreement with the former Carlos Pizza and Big Barbecue. And we've been working tirelessly to make improvements and to get doors open and business up and running. We just wanted to introduce ourselves and let you know that we're very excited to be a part of the Cedar Lake community. We've reached out to a lot of people in the area. We've partnered with one of your vice principal at the high school to get some things going. We're going to be a family-friendly restaurant, and we look forward to not only nurturing this community, but also being a part of the fabric of this community.
Very nice.
The
Well,
building
Thank
looks
you
a
very
lot
much.
better.
There were a lot of things that we couldn't do with
Mhm.
the time constraints. We started this like Thanksgiving.
Right.
And if you'll remember, the weather turned really cold and a quick snap, so
Well, you got your driveway down. That was important.
the parking lot is a big.
So will you, Gail and John, are you going to run the place then?
We have a general manager that
I
is
see.
going to be there. I myself bring 20 years of food and beverage experience in Chesterton. I currently work there. I'm at Sand Creek Country Club.
Sure.
I could certainly see myself as a part of this community.
Oh, good.
And I look forward to being a part of this community. And if you don't mind, I'll let John speak for a moment. And
You
then
bet.
if you have any questions or comments, we'd be glad to entertain those.
We're just really excited and eager to get started here. From watching what you guys are doing here, and it's really exciting. So for me, I've been in Chesterton most of my life, and I've been very involved with the community there. We've done some great things. I'm involved with Rebuilding Together, which I believe we have here in Cedar Lake. I don't think it's the Cedar Lake Rebuilding Together. I think it's South Lake County. Is that?
Yes, community services or something, I believe.
South Lake County Rebuilding Together, Tim Brown, Tim
Oh,
Brown's
that
a
is-
part of it.
Tim's.
Yeah.
So I know that I've been involved in that in Chesterton as well as the Exchange Club. So I think we're looking to kind of get involved and be philanthropic in the community as well. So.
What
So-
kind of a
Welcome.
menu are you gonna have?
So we are going to be doing, we're going to be focusing on our burger. It's called the Nick Burger. It's been recognized in Lamont, Illinois, where there's also a Nick's Tavern.
Right.
As one of the better burgers in Illinois.
This gentleman back here shaking his head that works for Public Works, so
Okay, good deal.
salivating over that burger.
We were featured on Chicago's Best WGN, and so we're excited to focus on that, but we're also going to be doing pizza.
Oh,
the
thank
roasted
God.
chicken.
Well, wait a second. No, wait a second. Cedar Lake was at a point before a couple of places folded up. We had one pizza place per 1,000 people. We were trying to be the record holders in the state, so I'm glad you're serving pizza. We've got to keep our pizza here.
Might as well, right?
Good answer.
Our big focus will be our burger. And as I said, we're not, although this was a good business decision, I think, for us with the growth that we're seeing in this location. More importantly, I think that you'll find that a lot of our team, a lot of our staff who's been working tirelessly are really all nurturers by nature. They love to feed people, they love to take them in, and we will, love to embrace the community in that respect.
Great.
Now that hamburger is a 1 pound burger, I'm told?
We also had a half pound burger.
Okay.
So we'll have other menu items. Our place in Lamont is very small. It's a historical place. We don't even have fryers at that place.
A lot like
Bag of
Sacco's.
chips. It's a bag of chips and a bag of pretzels or popcorn. So we're looking to expand our menu. We're looking to see what works, but.
Pizza works in this town, always has. Just saying.
Well, we will have it.
We will have that recipe. And we'll start working there. So, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you've had a big agenda, but we're just want to come and say hi and
Appreciate it.
introduce ourselves.
Great.
I can't wait to eat
Thank you.
the half-pound burger.
We had to scale back.
I'll probably go for the 1 pounder at some point.
Just don't question.
Yeah, I'll have to dive in and
And I
try it.
also want to give Cedar Lake a thank you for coming here tonight and not having to put on my cleanest dirty clothes.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Going once, twice. Public comment is now closed. I would like to adjourn the meeting by officially hitting my gavel.
There, you got to use
Next
it.
meeting Tuesday, February 9th.
Next meeting, Tuesday, February 19th. I forgot that.
February 9th. February.
Nice.
5th. I don't know.
Which one?
For everybody.
That's it, Ralph?
Oh, yeah.
Join the
You
channel.
gotta sign it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, right away.
See, the good thing about being down there is you get to sign everything first.
Yeah, 'cause you